I grew up in a very small town in rural Illinois. Not much happened there at all. It was far away from any big cities or towns. It was farm and hunting country. It was 100% white most of the time. But when I was about 9 years old, an Indian family from India suddenly moved in across the street. The Patels. The house they moved into was an antique and it had not been kept up well. The father of the family was a doctor and he became our town physician. My older brother and I, to my knowledge, were the only people in town who were interested in this fascinating and colorful and culturally unusual family. I'm sure we were the only people who ever stepped foot into their home. And stepping into their home was like stepping into another world. The smells, the sounds, and sights were all so different. The mother of the family was gentle and always welcomed me. She always had food cooking and always offered me some. I didn't like it at the time. I wasn't used to it. Everything had raisins in it. But she always tried to encourage me. She and the grandmother of the family, with their beautiful saris and bindis between their eyebrows, captivated me. They were like music to my eyes. My brother, who was about 12 at the time, had caught wind that Dr. Patel knew about hypnotism. And my brother was interested in esoteric things at that time of his life, and he pursued conversations with Dr. Patel to pick his brain about mystical things. He even claimed that Dr. Patel hypnotized him a couple of times. I thought that this was super cool, but my interest in the family was not hypnotism. It was their little daughter named Tina, and she was 3 years old when they moved in. I was very excited also to learn that the mother of the family was expecting another baby. I was crazy about little kids back then, and I loved little Tina. I was the town babysitter, and so I made sure that the parents knew that I was willing to play with and babysit for their little girl anytime. She was so beautiful with her perfect brown skin and her black wavy hair and her big brown sparkling eyes. Her little gold sparkling bracelets and shining earrings fascinated me. She was dainty and happy and always glad to see me. I was thrilled when their new baby arrived. I went over to visit as soon as I could, and they were welcoming to me as always. I witnessed something special that day, something that I've never forgotten, and something that I wish others could have seen too. The mother and grandmother had a white linen cloth placed over the dining room table. The newborn baby boy was naked and laid out on the cloth. It was warm in the house, and using oil, the mother began to rub the baby. She massaged the infant's limbs firmly, surprisingly vigorously, up and down, up and down. Then, shocking to me, she took the baby by the leg and held it upside down and sort of bobbed it gently up and down. And then she did the same thing with the other leg, up and down, up and down. And then she did the same thing with each arm, hanging the baby by its arm and kind of bobbing it up and down. I watched this mesmerized, as you might imagine. The baby loved it. Even though he acted a little annoyed, I could tell that he felt the nourishment of his mother's loving attention while she rubbed and exercised and stretched his tiny body. It was a beautiful thing, something I had certainly never seen before. I know now that what I witnessed that day was a traditional Ayurvedic baby massage. And since studying these things as an adult, I have all the more appreciation for the sweet Indian mother who allowed me to witness such a special process. Eventually, they left the community. I was heartbroken. I had hoped to watch Tina and the baby grow up. I was naive to think that they would stay in the community. No one said a word when they left. Not even my parents. They were like a dream. It was like they just slipped away without anyone caring. And a new doctor moved in, a white man, and the community embraced him. He stayed for decades. Looking back, I'm sad that no one welcomed the Patels. I'm not surprised, though. The community was and probably is still racist. It's amazing to me that not one of the adults in the entire community could be bothered to get to know them. Why? How can people lack such curiosity? The town turned a blind eye to a beautiful family who were obviously out of their cultural element and could have used some welcoming kindness, like they gave to me. I'll never know. I'm sure they moved somewhere more welcoming. At least I hope so. I'm certainly glad that my brother and I had the sense to not be afraid of them. It was a wonderful, unexpected, and educational experience. I'll always remember them. I hope they remember me too.